And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day, another qualifier, I should say, of the RSL. Another season of the RSL Rival StarCraft League 2025 Season 3 Korean Server Qualifier. I'm, of course, VIP. With me, I'm joined by these amazing players, by the people in chat, and by my plushies as well. Welcome, welcome, one and all, to the second qualifier of the day. Earlier today, the third broadcast of the day, actually, but earlier today we were live with the Americas qualifier, and now we've returned with the Korean qualifier. Here we go, bearing in mind that these are server qualifiers. They aren't necessarily region locked by any means, merely only by server. And here we go, we're jumping into the first game of the series, and spawning in the top right hand corner of Ultra Love, we have the South Korean Terran player. We have the red Terran representing Team Vitality. It is Ryung. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have the Australian Zerg player, the Australian Zerg player himself. As I quickly do fix up the player names, it is RaGnaR. Here we go. And if you're in the chat, predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck in the chat as we get into our TvZ. Now, already, I do apologize. I don't know if you can notice, camera is fine, but in game, you can see some frame drops here. Do apologize. Looks like we do have a bit of a rough connection here to the Korean server. After this game, I will be fixing up the VPN, and I'll be activating my VPN, I should say, and we should be able to connect, and everything should be smooth here on forward. It's just a bit of a coin flip. Sometimes the Korean server, sometimes you need the VPN, sometimes you don't need it, and today is one of those days where the VPN is going to be necessary. Yes. So bit of a feels bad, man. But again, it should be resolved after this first game. So if you're seeing some frame drops, do apologize. Just our connection to the Korean server should be fixed up momentarily. The next by game 2. By game 2 should be fixed up. For the time being, though, 2rax Reaper here out of Ryung, a hyper-aggressive start from our Korean Terran player, and we'll see how RaGnaR can hold his own. RaGnaR, of course, he's more of an amateur player, but he has been improving quite steadily over the course of the past year of play. Is coming in as the underdog, heavy underdog, and we'll see if he can do the first thing, which is survive the Reaper aggression of Ryung. As Reactive Reaper is going to be rallying across the map, and this is a way for Ryung to apply a lot of pressure early on and skill check his opponent. Oh boy. As we have initial queens on the way, lings are on the way as well. Live VPN, true. True. And also shout out to Kashim, shout out to Kashim in the chat. Thank you so much for resubscribing for 25 months, over 2 years of support. Likewise, thank you so much to Werehug as well for 13 months of support, over a year. Oh my god, so thank you so much. Meanwhile, the first couple of Reapers do arrive. Lings are trying to keep up, and so far the Reaper does kite well here, getting 2 Zerglings already. And with good enough control, these Reapers should never go down. The Lings should be cleaned up. With Queen support, the bases should be okay, and RaGnaR should be able to drone up and saturate quite nicely, but we'll see if he ever makes lings. That's the scary thing here, is overmaking lings. We don't have another pair of queens on the way. We need to be droning at the moment, and unfortunately droning is a little bit delayed for RaGnaR. Yeah, droning is delayed. Ooh, lings, you don't want to engage like this. You don't want to engage without your queens. Likewise, you don't want to engage without ling speed either. So drone goes down, more lings going to be going down as well. Nice goes here by Ryung. Ryung does trade well, dipping in towards the main. Behind this Ryung, he's getting into his third CC to have our economic transition out of Ryung. Building up, getting into his own economy, and the damage has been done here. Looking at Legion Solstad, Ryung has let to use a single unit. Meanwhile, he gets 6 lings, 1 drone, a really nice trade here out of Ryung. Likewise, RaGnaR, he's overmade these lings, and he has to make use of them. He has to make use of these lings in some way, shape, or form. Likewise, we got a lot of droning to do, and we are missing our 3rd expansion as well. So a bit of a shaky follow-up out of RaGnaR. Yeah, a little bit shaky here as Reaper, Hellion, and can now engage. With good enough kiting, we can kite well. Oh, 1 Reaper gets surrounded, okay. 1 Reaper gets caught out. But with additional Hellions, these lings, they won't achieve much. Okay, they should not achieve much here. The Lings are getting roasted. Ryung can keep pushing. And back at home, what do we have to defend? We have only 2 queens. The queen count is very low here. Yeah, very low queen count, barely any Lings, which means the Hellions, they could even just go for the middle line. They just dive into the middle line. They're checking for the third base. There is none. Roach Warren now getting thrown down. Hellions, they rotate. It's a 5 Hellions. And honestly, they can just go in. They can just go in. We only have a handful of Lings engaging. Lings are cleaned up. It gets into the middle line. Drones are getting roasted. And we should kill every drone here. The slideshow packet. Let's go. Let's go. But yeah, every drone is going to be falling. There is no answer. Sure, we have the Roach Warren on the way now. We have 18 Lings in production, but the damage has been done. Yeah, 18 drones falling. Say 18 gets out. Oh, no, yes. Does find the drones. 26, 27 drones going to be falling. Brutal damage. And with that, RaGnaR has no economy. RaGnaR, he has no economy here. With that, so the queens are being chased down. The queens are being chased. Final drone's getting picked up as well. There are spores in the bases, but that's why the Banshee's in between the expansions, catching transferring drones. GG gets called again, down to 8 workers, barely an economy, and Ryung will take game number 1. GG. Whew, GG well played. Again, I do apologize for the drop frames in game, but that should be rectified soon as I very quickly connect with my VPN. Un momento. One moment here. Making sure we're good to go. Beautiful. Okay. Okay, we are good to go. And again, Ryung, he does take a lead, winding it back a little bit here. Unfortunately, when it comes to defending against 2-ranks Reaper, the early 2-ranks Reaper, like, you do need a little bit more experience with that to have a better response. Unfortunately, RaGnaR did panic a little bit too much, delayed his queen production, overmade Zerglings, and did fall behind. Even though in the early game, not a lot of drones were killed. Ryung, he killed 1. He killed only 1 drone, he killed 6 Zerglings. The damage itself wasn't too great, but it was almost inflicted self-damage there by RaGnaR just because of his response, just because of the delayed droning, lack of third base, and lack of economy. So the macro did slip quite hard during that defense. That's what really set RaGnaR behind. But now we're getting into game two, and we'll see how our players do adjust here as we load into ley lines. Let's go. Let us go. Again, hopefully everything is looking a little bit smoother for us. Beautiful. And spawning in the top right-hand corner of ley lines, we have the red Terran player. We have the South Korean Terran representing Team Vitality. It is Ryung. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the blue Zerg player. We have the Australian Zerg. Down in the series, we'll see if he mounts back. See if we can make a series out of this. It is RaGnaR. Here we go. Laggers, is just me. That was just it was just our connection to the Korean server. As you can see here, bam. We're smooth. We're silky smooth. So I do apologize for game 1 being a little bit scuffed, and game 1 being just a little bit, I mean, less than ideal, right? Like there was a lot of frame drops, and I'm sure it was not pleasant to look, to watch, to look at. But as you can see here, everything is looking as it should be. It's just the connection to the Korean server is unreliable. So I did have to turn on my VPN to actually get a better node, get a better routing to the Korean server. Now we're good. Now we should be good for the rest of the broadcast. Feels Korean server, man. Yeah. Now we're smooth back. as it is going to be 2-rank Reaper once again. So 2-rank Reaper out of Ryung. I mean, again, it was just a really solid start. No reason not to go for it for a second time, especially if you're up against a more inexperienced player. And it's going to be up to RaGnaR after one game to try to iron out that response, to again not over respond with Lings, to make sure he's on top of his queen production, to be able to drone up and feel secure enough to drone. Oh, as Ryung is doubling down. Okay, so this is not 2 ranks Reaper, this is 3 ranks Reaper. Ryung, he smells blood in the water. He smells blood in the water. He wants to end this quickly. Basically, he feels like, hold up, your defense last game was pretty shaky. Let's ramp it up. Let's ramp it up and let us end the game here and now. This is much more committed. More Reapers going to be amassing, of course, and this is going to require a much more decisive defense from RaGnaR. Oh boy. Now, this is not an all-in. Bear that in mind. There's not an all-in. This typically does transition into a CC afterwards and into typically a stim timing after the initial Reaper aggression, but it's definitely on the Zerg player to to make sure he's able to get his queens up and running, to pull out of gas, get your Ling speed build up. But there are players like RaGnaR, players like Shin, who is quite fond of, they are quite fond of going for Bane Bust response, to go for a Baneling all in, just because the factory production is going to be so delayed. So late Hellions and late tanks, it does allow for a Bane Bust to be a viable response. That's after the initial defense though. So far, the Reapers are trading well. The Lings, they shouldn't be here. These Lings, they're going down for free. The Queens are delayed. And I believe this was pulled first, which is part of the reason for this. Yeah, the Queens are in the main base. They're not able to respond. And again, you need to bring all your Queens together to defend. Otherwise, this Queen is going to go down. Yeah, the Queen defense isn't there. The Queens are kept in the main base. We are going for a Baneling nest. Baneling speed has not been researched though. Oof. So delayed Baneling speed, which means the early nest doesn't really achieve anything, right? Like the early nest, it can't really do much here. And once again, these Lings, they shouldn't be engaging ahead of time. Not without the Queen. We need the Queens back. And this is Snowball Guy control. Snowball Guy control with that Ryung, he's dealing critical damage. Breaking into natural, and from here there's only 2 queens remaining. At this point there should be 4 to support each other, and there's that stim follow-up. There's that stim follow-up here out of Ryung. That's all Lings do full, and Ryung, he should break the main. Should break the main base from here. Takes over the queens. Baneling's more thin, but they should never connect. With good enough micro. Speaking of, gets 1, gets 2, and gets the final Baneling. That final Baneling goes down. And with that, GG gets called. Ryung, he will claim the series 2-0. He will advance on to the next round. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Congratulations here to Ryung. A clean series and a swift 2-0 here. Again, as I mentioned before, if you're a little bit inexperienced when it comes to 2 ranks Reaper defense, it can be quite tricky, 100%, just because there's so much pressure on you so early on, and mistakes made early, they do have a compounding effect, and they do hurt you even more getting into a longer game as well. So a brutal start there, but we're going to be following Ryung into the next series, and let's catch up on the entirety of the bracket. Now, for the RSL qualifiers, again, we already wrapped up the Americas qualifier, and who qualified already? Hero and Bunny. If you weren't here this morning, I do recommend the VODs, but Hero and Bunny have already qualified. That's why they're not a part of this qualifier, and we have some updates already. And as a reminder, top 2 qualify. So the finals will not be played. The qualifying matches are the semi-finals. So we have Rex vs Rebellion, that's being casted, I believe, currently by Gemini. So Gemini is covering Rex vs Rebellion, that leads into Solar. We are casting Ryung vs RaGnaR, which just concluded, that leads into Nightmare. So Ryung vs Nightmare is coming up next on